you, everybody, for coming to the College Football Betting with Aaron Torres YouTube channel. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead, click that subscribe button. It helps our channel grow. It helps our audience grow. I appreciate it more than you know, as we're talking college football on this channel year-round. Appreciate your support. Click that subscribe button. They host Iowa this weekend, 3:30 Eastern, CBS. Ohio State is a 19.5-point favorite at home against the Hawkeyes, at the Horseshoe. The over-under set at 45.5. And so first off, listen, I'm just excited to see Ohio State. And this isn't a knock. This isn't tearing them down. Sometimes the schedule just breaks this way, okay? But they, with the new schedules, they obviously, the Big Ten, playing 9 league games, et cetera, they didn't have a marquee out of conference game. So this is who they've played so far: Akron, Western Michigan, Marshall. And then even in their Big Ten opener last week, it was against Michigan State. It's on the road, but it's on Peacock. So it's just not, if you have basic, if you have cable, you're not flipping channels. It's kind of just, even if you have Peacock, it's on a 4th, 5th screen. I'm just excited to see them in a game that I think can actually be pretty interesting, because I think Iowa is good and well coached. From the Ohio State perspective, listen, I got to give credit. Even though we haven't seen them, even though we're going to learn a lot about them this week and certainly next week at Oregon, I'm also not going to tear them down, because they've done exactly what they are supposed to against everyone that they have played so far this year. 52-6 win over Akron, 56-0 win over Western Michigan, 49-14 win over Marshall. Last week, a 31-point win at Michigan State. And I think what we're seeing is a couple things. Is one, just so many weapons on that team. From the receiving standpoint, Emeka Buka's had a couple big plays, but he has obviously been overshadowed by Jeremiah Smith. We saw the 2 unbelievable one-handed catches last week. 5 receiving touchdowns in 4 games for Jeremiah Smith. It's also worth noting, by the way, with Jeremiah Smith, I saw this. One of these NFL draft guys, whatever, I don't know who it was, I missed it, said that he believes if they were eligible, Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams would be the number 1 and number 2 receivers on the board in this 2025 NFL draft. Okay, so it shows you how good he's been. But I also think we got to give credit where it's due, right? Chip Kelly comes in as the OC, but it's really to kind of establish the run game. He's done it. You look at Ohio State right now. This is a team that is running the ball down people's throats. 227 yards or 227 rushing yards per game in their 4 wins. Quinshon Judkins, with 5 rushing TDs. Travion Henderson with 4 rushing TDs. Will Howard with 3 rushing TDs. They're doing it through the air. They're doing it through the ground. Exactly what you want when you have a coach that needed to start winning some games that really mattered. And then 2, you have a highly compensated offensive coordinator. And so they are doing everything they're supposed to on offense. And then defensively, Jim Knowles has had this thing rolling for a while. I think this is the best version of Ohio State on defense, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. Because remember, last year they finished in the top 3 nationally in total defense, and they were also an elite scoring defense team, giving up 11.5 points per game. So this is the best version of this Ohio State defense, coupled with a much more explosive offense. But speaking of explosive offense, how about them Iowa Hawkeyes? Break up the Iowa Hawkeyes, baby. Do you know Iowa's averaging like 32 points per game this year? Like, that'd be like Tennessee averaging 200 points a game under Josh Heupel. I mean, there's a little bit of hyperbole, but come on now. 40-0 win over Illinois State. 2019 loss to Iowa State. 31-14 last week against Troy. 38-21 victory, or 38-21 over Troy. 31-14 against Minnesota. So they're moving the ball. Cade McNamara, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie and pretend like he's been amazing, but he's completing about 63% of his passes, moving the ball well enough. And on top of that, the run game is, as always, elite, just the way that it always is. Oh, by the way, how about this? Caleb Johnson coming off a 200-yard performance 2 weeks ago against Minnesota. And keep in mind, Iowa is coming off of a bye when we think about this game. Defense, to Iowa's credit, is always elite. It's funny, Ryan Day, I saw one of his press conference clips where he was basically like, look, this team's been the same team for like 25 years. It's unbelievable. Run the ball, defense, obviously more of a vertical passing game this year, but they are who they are. and they take care of the football, top 5 in the country in time of possession. And oh, by the way, not only top 5 in the country in time of possession, that run defense is special. They're one of only 2 teams, by the way, at this point in the year, entering October, who has not given up a rushing touchdown. And so when I think about this game, when I think about my best bet, another one I may regret come Sunday morning, I'm taking Iowa plus the points. This is not a spot where I think Iowa is going to win outright. Ohio State's a good team, man. Listen, I've been critical of Ryan Day, but Ohio State's a really good football team, and they're going to figure out ways to score. But this is also by far the best defense that they have faced. And I think that Iowa offense can do just enough to kind of keep the ball moving, put up enough points to keep it competitive. And when you run the football, when you get stops on defense, all of a sudden, 19.5 is a lot of points. So what is the final score? It feels like it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of Ohio State, 23, Iowa 13 or something like that. But I look at this game. I think Iowa does enough to cover. I think Ohio State wins. And then we all get to look forward to next Saturday against Oregon. Think that should be a pretty good one. Ohio State, of course, has to take care of Iowa this weekend, and Michigan State travels to Oregon after playing the Buckeyes a week ago. Hopefully both those teams win, so we get a top 10 matchup, undefeated teams at Autzen Stadium a week from now.